You ever had one of those weeks where you're just about ready to lose your mind and then the universe throws you a softball in the form of pure poetic revenge? Well, buckle up because you're about to hear how I went toe-to-toe with the nastiest commercial landlord in the city and walked away with a win, then chased a bunch of entitled squatters out of my family cabin and still had time to dish out some petty karma at the grocery store. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. If you think residential landlords are bad, you've never met a commercial landlord with a power complex. Dominic was the king of all a-holes, the kind of guy who'd change the locks if you were 5 minutes late with the rent, then slap you with a letter demanding you pay for every cracked tile and sidewalk snowflake on the property. I shared office space in this old building with Richard, a lawyer who'd seen everything, and down in the basement was this cozy little Italian place called the Vault. It was named for the actual 100-ton bank vault, bolted to the floor, all gleaming safe deposit boxes and cold echoing metal. You could eat your lunch in there and feel like you were hiding from the mob. One day, Marco, the owner, always running his hands through his hair, anxious as a cat pulls me aside while I'm digging into my pasta. "The landlord's driving me nuts," he says. "I know the feeling." Dominic never passed up a chance to make someone miserable, but this time Marco was getting hit with bills for stuff like snow removal, parking lot repairs, even restoring the vault to its original state. The kicker, Marco's lease said he'd be on the hook for removing that bank vault when he moved out. Can you picture trying to lift something that weighs as much as a blue whale out of a basement? Yeah, good luck with that. I looked over his lease, and sure enough, Marco had personally guaranteed it no shell company to take the fall. Just him facing a nightmare of costs. Most folks would have called it hopeless. But when you've seen as much as I have, you learn a thing or two about outsmarting jerks like Dominic. Here's the deal I told Marco. I can get you out of this, but it'll cost you $8,000 in legal fees and another $1,500 for a real estate agent. Think of it as an investment. It's a hell of a lot less than moving a 100-ton vault. He wired me the money the same day, and I called in a favor from Richard. The guy always knew a guy, and sometimes that got him into hot water, but this time it was just what I needed. With a little paperwork and some clever bluffing, my agent Eli made Dominic think we wanted to take the vault with us. "We demand you release the bank vault so Marco can move it to his new restaurant," I wrote. The kind of letter that makes a greedy landlord see dollar signs and panic all at once. Dominic predictably lost his mind. He wrote back fuming, "You're not taking my vault? It stays. Got it in writing too. You see where this is going, right?" Next thing you know, Dominic's locked into owning that vault forever, and Marco's free to walk away. No lawsuit, no 100-ton headache. Marco's new restaurant is up and running in a week, and the vault minus the actual vault still serves the best carbonara in town. Of course, Dominic tried to threaten lawsuits, raged about trickery and sabotage, but the law's the law and a letter's a letter. I watched him try to rent the space out to a fintech startup who wanted a secure server room, but nobody wants to inherit a bank vault. Last I heard, Dominic's still trying to find a company crazy enough to remove it. Maybe someday he'll figure out you can't bully everyone and always win. Now, if you think that was satisfying, wait till you hear about the time I came home from overseas and found squatters living in my grandfather's cabin up north. Yeah, you heard me right. A whole family minivan and all making themselves at home on my land. The cabin's been in my family for generations. A little 2-bedroom spot on 5 wooded acres where you can hear the frogs and see the deer at dusk. I winterized the place before leaving, locked it up tight, signs everywhere. Private property, no trespassing. When I pulled up after 6 weeks away and saw toys in the yard and smoke from the chimney, my heart just sank. I marched up to the door and got greeted by a woman looking at me like I was interrupting her TV time. "What do you want?" she snaps. I tell her politely at first that this is my property. She calls her husband over, and this guy, arms folded, tells me they're claiming squatters' rights and have established residency. They give me this whole speech about how, since they've been there over a month, I have to go through the legal eviction process. The wife pulls out her phone and starts reading internet law at me, all smug, waving around words like adverse possession. You know what I mean? The nerve. So I smile, pull out my phone, and say, I'll get you that paperwork you want. I'll be back in 2 hours. What they don't know is the cabin isn't legally a residence. It's a recreational hunting cabin on agricultural land not covered by the laws they're spouting. Oh, and the county sheriff's an old friend of mine. I swing by his office, grab my deed and all the official docs, and head back up with the sheriff and a county property inspector in tow. Turns out not only did these folks break my locks and move in, but they'd also been dumping trash, misusing the septic, starting fires in the old chimney, all kinds of code violations. The sheriff took one look, cited them for trespassing, breaking and entering property damage, you name it. The inspector wrote them up for every violation under the sun. Suddenly, Mr. and Mrs. Squatter weren't so cocky anymore. The best part, since they demanded the proper legal process, everything was documented, all their violations, all the damage, all the proof that they had zero rights to be there. The sheriff gave them 30 minutes to pack up and leave, handed them summons for criminal charges, and made sure they knew exactly how much trouble they were in. They left in tears, and later when the husband started whining around town about how I'd illegally evicted them, folks just pulled up the public records and shut him down. Turns out these two had a history of squatting, but now they had an official criminal record to go with their scams. I had to pay out of pocket for the repairs, but I made sure to upgrade my security and keep the sheriff in the loop anytime I left town after that. Sometimes you got to thank the universe for delivering karma right to your door, or in this case, your cabin. You want a little palate cleanser after all that drama? Here's one for the ages. Picture this. It's the middle of the pandemic. Everyone's fighting over toilet paper like it's gold, and I'm just trying to buy some snacks at the grocery store. I get to the TP aisle, see 6 big packs of Charmin Jackpot. Right? Wrong. There's a Karen, of course, and she sweeps every last pack into her cart with this smug little smile like she just won the lottery. Now, I'm not the kind of person to start a public brawl over toilet paper, but karma needed a hand that day. So I hustled to the baby aisle, loaded every pack of baby wipes into my cart, and waited. Sure enough, Karen comes stomping over, ready to lecture anyone who doesn't have a child about why they shouldn't buy wipes. She sees my cart, my snacks, my stack of wipes, and the look on her face, priceless. I wheeled away, gave her a big cheesy grin, and don't worry, put all the wipes back after she left. Petty. Sure, but sometimes you just gotta take the win. You want a little more office drama. Try working for a company where management is dumber than a box of rocks and thinks threats will keep people in line. I worked remote as an automation engineer, happy to coast by with my cushy job and my passive income until new management came in, swinging schedule-based vacations, mandatory business trips, you name it. One day, the boss calls, tells me to fly out and fix a mess of a project on site, but I'm already on my legally protected vacation. He threatens to fire me if I don't go. I hand in my resignation with 2 weeks' notice, and since I'm still on vacation for those 2 weeks, I don't do a lick of work before leaving. The company crumbles under missed deadlines, fines, and angry clients. Sometimes malicious compliance is all it takes to tip the whole house of cards. And just when you think people can't get any more entitled, I spend my parents' birthday cleaning birdseed shells off the patio of their assisted living townhouse. And the next-door neighbor's friend tries to stage Whisper Me into cleaning their patio, too. Not a please or thank you, just a throat clearing, a fake smile, and a rude joke about Broomhilda. You know what? I ignored them, set up the birthday meal at the far end of the patio, and let my kids stare down the nosy neighbor like little superheroes. Sometimes you don't have to say a word to make your point. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone try to use the rules against you only to have it backfire in the best possible way? Or maybe you've dealt with a Karen, a Dominic, or a wannabe squatter, thinking they can outsmart you with attitude and a Google search. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. I want to hear how you handled your own battles with entitlement and justice, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to survive the circus called life. If you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your take on what real justice looks like. Is it petty, poetic, or something in between? Let's talk about it.